Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So this is Lifestyle Critic, where we break down movies and TV shows into their core elements, and in this video we are going to be reviewing the Power Rangers reboot, which got released a few years ago. Now, as a child, I was an absolutely massive Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan. I absolutely loved the TV show. I had all of the merchandise, and so I was really excited to see what they were going to do with this rebooted movie franchise. Now, for the most part, it is a fun movie. It has an absolutely brilliant cast attached to it, and it was really nice to kind of see them doing something different with the source material. However, they absolutely butchered the Goldar character. The tone of this movie was really confusing as well, because it would go from being funny to being serious to being funny to being overly serious. Now, this can work, as the Avengers movies have proved that they can have a multi-toned, layered aspect to them, because all of the MCU movies have this as well, but it was just really confusingly executed in this film. And my goodness, the product placements in this film was so horrendous. You could just tell that Krispy Kreme were promoting themselves and sponsoring themselves through this film, and it was just so bad because it really took away from the film. No other movie that I've known has done it as badly as the Power Rangers rebooted film did with Krispy Kreme. So that was just incredibly disappointing to kind of see them doing that with the overt product placement promotion. But ultimately it really should have been a lot more epic and a lot more fun and humorous, given all of the brilliant Power Rangers elements that they had at their disposal, such as a brilliant, layered, hilarious villain in Rita Repulsa, all of the Zords, all of the costumes, the puddies, all of that and more will be broken down for you in this movie review. So as far as the storyline goes for the Power Rangers rebooted movie, it was really nice that they kind of changed up the premise of the film a little bit, but still stayed true to all of the source material. So what they did is they said centuries ago, Zordon was actually the Red Ranger and Rita Repulsa was the Green Ranger, but Rita then turned on all of the other Power Rangers and wanted to use the Zeo Crystals to be able to take over the universe. Zordon then told Alpha 5 to try and stop Rita, and Alpha 5 created a meteor which then destroyed all of them and stopped Rita's plan. Years and years later, in present day, we go to Angel Grove High School, where we're introduced to 5 teenagers: Jason, Kimberly, Trini, Billy, and Zach. These 5 then meet up, become friends, and find the power coins. At the same time, Rita Repulsa is woken up from her slumber and wants to resume her plan to try and find the Zeo Crystals and take over the universe. The Power Rangers then go on a little bit of a journey of discovery, and after rebelling initially, they are then officially formed and decide to stop Rita once and for all. So from a storyline point of view, it obviously condenses years and years and years of the television show into one movie special, and from a storyline point of view actually is pretty successful. So from a casting characters point of view, like I said before, the casting of this film was actually pretty flawless. I think they did a really good job in doing all of the cast selections for all of the different roles in this film. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Dacre Montgomery from the Stranger Things franchise, and he is playing the leader Jason Scott in this film. Now, I don't think he's necessarily as great as Austin St. John was from the TV series, but that being said, I think that Dacre does do a good job in terms of playing the leader figure for the Power Rangers, and does actually do a pretty good job for the Jason role. We then have Naomi Scott, who plays the character of Kimberly Hart, and she is obviously from the Aladdin reboot and the Charlie's Angels reboot, and here she is in the Power Rangers reboot playing the Kimberly Hart character. You can tell that she's channeling the Amy Jo Johnson character in here as well, but still putting her own spin on it, and for the most part, again, she does a good job in playing the Kimberly Hart character. We then have RJ Cyler from the Scream Resurrection franchise, who is playing the Billy Cranston character, who is a bit of an intelligent character who also is a bit of a bully magnet as well. And I think for the most part as well, he does a really nice interpretation of the Billy character. We then have Ludi Lin, who plays the Black Ranger in this interpretation, and they changed the ethnicity of this character because in the original there was a lot of comments of a black person is playing the Black Ranger, and so in this one they obviously wanted to avoid that, so they changed the ethnicity for the Zach character. And then finally we have singer Becky G playing the Trini character, who is questioning her sexuality and is also new in town. So from a casting character's point of view for the Power Rangers, it was actually really great. But then they also had a brilliant suite of supporting cast in there as well. So let's go through them. So Bryan Cranston brilliantly played the Zordon character. And I think they had a bit of a hard job on their hands in terms of how they're going to get this character's head in a globe type thing working in this movie reboot. But for the most part, I think they did that really, really well. And like I said, Bryan Cranston really did bring the elements of Zordon from the TV series to life on the big live action movie really, really well. He also had his own motivations of what he wanted to do with the morphing grid, so I thought that was really great as well. We then have Elizabeth Banks, who is a great actress, but I don't think she really played the Rita Repulsa role as well as she could have done, as this character is truly crazy in the TV series and is a hilarious villain, and I just feel like Elizabeth Banks didn't really play the character as well as she could have done. And also it was really different to kind of see the Rita character on her own, whereas in the TV series she's obviously surrounded by her own little group of villains, and I just feel like the character didn't work as well on her own. But that being said, like I said before, I did like that they gave her a new backstory in terms of actually being the Green Ranger from the past. We then have Billy Hader, who plays the Alpha 5 character. Again, I don't think he's as endearing as he was in the TV series, but that being said, I think for the most part this character was quite successful as well. Like I said before as well, I think they totally butchered the Goldar character. Such a brilliant, iconic villain from the TV series that was nowhere near as decent in this film, so that was really disappointing. I also like the fact that they added the parents for the teenage characters, and you found out a lot more about their backstories as a result of these characters. Similarly to Goldar, the Puddies were really reduced and watered down to kind of being a bit pathetic, not being as epic as they were in the TV series. And then finally, we have Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson doing little cameo appearances in the film, which was absolutely brilliant. So from a cast and characters point of view overall, while some of them weren't as great as they could have been, for the most part overall they were pretty awesome. So from a visuals point of view, you can tell that this film has a very high budget because everything does look really, really impressive. But like I said before, because they wanted to go for a much more serious tone to it, the result was that things were just feeling a lot more empty as a result. So for example, the Zords really should have been absolutely unbelievably epic and groundbreaking, but they were just really underwhelming. As a result, it was just coming across really, really flat and not as epic or monumental as it could have been. So for example, the Zords were just really, really underwhelming and really should have been more groundbreaking, a lot more fun and exciting, but it was just a little bit flat. And also, like I said before, the Goldar character, what they did with him was just totally unforgivable, as they totally butchered this character and it was just not as epic or as awesome as it could have been. But you know, that being said, like I said before, the high production values do mean that the set pieces look really, really great. So for example, the command center looked really, really great. The costumes did look really, really cool as well. So from a visuals point of view, whilst it did look good, it just wasn't as rich or connected to the television series fan base as well as it could have been. So from a comparisons point of view, I do think it's great that they were trying something different, and I think from an origin point of view, it was a decent origin movie storyline. It's a shame that this franchise has now been cancelled, as it could have become a lot better with future movie installments. But you know, that being said, as far as this movie goes, in terms of comparing it to the original Power Rangers movie, I have to say I preferred the original Power Rangers movie, as it just felt a lot more connected to what a Power Rangers movie should be in terms of being fun, high stakes, and just having really fun characters in there. So from a comparisons point of view, whilst this movie is decent, I did prefer the original Power Rangers movie. So overall, I did really enjoy the new Power Rangers rebooted film. I thought it could have been a brilliant new franchise that could have really expanded the world really, really great, and the cast of this film were absolutely extraordinary. So it's such a shame that this franchise has now been cancelled and that they're going to be trying a brand new thing with time travel, going back to the 90s and having a new cast attached to it. So it'll be really interesting to see how that franchise goes. But as far as this one goes, you know, it did have a brilliant cast attached to it. You know, the visuals were decent. Whilst they weren't connected to what makes Power Rangers, it does make a really great cinematic experience. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give this film a 6 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.